Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today I want to talk about vibrato systems on electric guitars. I would like to discuss the five, perhaps most popular, but five popular types of vibrato systems that you may find on an instrument. Kind of go through my rankings of them, what I like about them, what I don't like about them. Certainly none of them are perfect. And also, I will be referring to them as vibrato systems throughout the course of the video because a vibrato is a change in pitch, and a lot of times they're called tremolo systems because Leo Fender misnamed the tremolo system or the vibrato systems that he put on his instruments, calling them tremolos. Tremolo is an effect where you affect volume, volume modulation, volume going up, volume going down. So we will be referring to all of these systems as pitch shifting systems or vibratos. So to avoid any further confusion, vibrato only, and let's get started. Now, the first system I want to talk about is one that I do not currently have on any of my instruments, and there is a reason for that. I want to discuss just very briefly the Bigsby style vibrato system. I've played a number of instruments that have Bigsby's on them or Bigsby styled, vibratos, and what I find about them is they are adequate for doing your modulation effect. However, the amount of hardware involved, the weight involved, the clunkiness, the kind of backward looking design of it does not appeal to me. I know there are die-hard Bigsby people out there. You can roast me in the comments all you want. It is my least favorite of all of the vibrato systems because of its clunkiness, because of the fact that, I know that there are some non-invasive versions of Bigsby's out there, but for the most part, if you buy an instrument that has one on it, it's going to have big holes, are going to be left behind. It's just a big chunk of metal bolted to the guitar, basically. I do not like them, but like I said, some people love them. I think that they are just kind of the bottom of my list because of the way that they look and just the overall bulk of the system. They do work, but not my favorite. All right, moving on to number 4. Another system that I don't currently have, but I wish I did, is the Kahler vibrato system. Now, Kahler and Floyd Rose kind of came up around the same time, and they were competing companies. Floyd, though, went ahead and he licensed his stuff out to be manufactured by other people. Whereas with the Kahler, vibrato system, that never happened. So they are much harder to find. They are much more expensive. I've installed many of those units onto other people's instruments. They're super easy. It's like one little cavity. The cam system is just so elegant. And it's just a self-contained unit. I mean, there's no need to do any routes on the back of the guitar. I mean, anything with a flat top, or even if it's not, you can put them on Les Pauls too. They're just so elegant and they work so well. Now, why would I put it at number 4? Because they are expensive. If I could buy an entire guitar, like a Squier Classic Vibe, for what it would cost to buy one of the Kahler units. I would love to get a Kahler. I keep, kind of waffling on that. We'll call it Kahler from here on out. I would love to have one of those on one of my guitars. I will someday. It's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. My good friend Kevin, you see on the channel sometimes, he has one on one of his guitars and absolutely loves it. I think it's a great system. The reason why it's number 4, the expense and relative scarcity of them. You just don't see them out in the wild very often. All right, moving right along. Kahler's competitor, the Floyd Rose. Right here I have a Gotha version of a Floyd Rose vibrato system on this old Peavey Tracer of mine. I will link a video. There's a video about me installing this vibrato system on this guitar. What I love about Floyd Roses is the fact that, You have a large range of motion. I don't have my cavity dug out here, but I can still get, you know, a good amount of back pull on it. What I love about them as well is that with the locking nut, your tuning stability is almost flawless, and it's just a lot, you know, it's very smooth. And you notice how the guitar stays in tune no matter how hard you want to go on it. Now, I'm obviously not doing dive bombing stuff or anything like that, but what I just like about, I like using it just, you know, kind of in a mild way, you know, just... And the fact that it holds tune so well just makes it so usable. So I really love the Floyd. I love the fact that it's got the locking nut. Tuning stability is great. Once your strings are stretched in, you've got the system all dialed. These work fantastic. The reason why I put it in the middle of the pack is because for somebody who's not technically minded or doesn't like using wrenches and things like that, this does require a little bit of extra finesse. It does require you to have to, you know, use a wrench to take the, to take the strings off, to loosen these. You also have to use a wrench back here to clamp down all of your string ends, because you have to cut the ball ends off your strings. So if you're not willing to do all of that extra work to get one of these set up and running on your guitar, or if you're a person who changes strings constantly, the Floyd system may not be for you. However, if you're looking for the ultimate in tuning stability, and just like the smoothness of the mechanism itself, it's hard to beat. Alright, so I rank it a little bit lower, more maintenance, required tools. Alright, so that brings us to, since we're just doing 5 vibrato systems, this brings me to number 2 on the list, and I'll plug in my trusty Strat here. So anyway, Stratocaster vibrato system, Leo Fender's rolling over in his grave, is the most common system out there. There's no question of that. You'll see more of these than any other style of vibrato out there installed on guitars. There are millions of clones of them, all sorts of variations. There's 2-post, you know, there's 4-post, or 4-screw, there's 6-screw, there's all sorts of variations on this basic vibrato system. Beauty of it is you can tighten up the springs back here, or put in as many or as few springs as you want by using these adjustment screws. You back them out, you can pop the springs off, put, you know, however many you want. I run some with 2 springs, I run some with 5, I run some with 3, I run some with 4. Depends on the guitar, depends on the tension of the spring. Also, a lot of people like to have these maxed out so that they rest on top of the guitar. I like to float mine just enough to be able to put a credit card underneath them. That way, I can get a little bit of that back and forth wobble. And also, it's nice because when you go, it doesn't snap back and contact the top of the guitar, which can create a noise that is audible through your amplifier. So I like to float them just a little bit so that you just have a nice smooth feel. Overall, I would say that the feel of the Stratocaster vibrato is the least appealing of any of these except for the Bigsby thus far. However, if you get that float just right and get your spring tension and the number of springs right, you can really get these to be quite buttery. And that's what I do. I spend a lot of time experimenting with them. I want to be able to hit it and barely have to touch the bar. To get the desired effect. So, if you set these up right, you take the time to really dial them, experiment with your spring tensions, get them to float just a little bit. They can be one of the best out there. And I rank it number 2 because it's so common, it's so easy to mod, and it's easy to adjust. No special tools required. Phillips screwdriver, you're ready to go. All right, and then moving on to our last contestant, which I rank number 1. And a couple years ago, this wouldn't have even been on my radar. The good old Jazzmaster or Jaguar style vibrato system. Let's go ahead and turn the guitar up, see if we got some. Now, these are notorious for not being reliable or being hard to set up. The key to these, though, is very, very simple. You have to make sure that the guitar that you're putting them on has enough neck pitch so that you can have the bridge live up high. If you have this bridge up high, I've got mine a good 1/4 inch off the top of the body. If you can have these stand proud over the top of the guitar, and you have everything properly lubricated on them, and you have your spring tension set right, there is nothing that beats a Jazzmaster vibrato system, in my opinion. They are so musical sounding. They're because you can really kind of like press into them. You can lean into them, but they don't get, they're just smooth. They don't get like super wonky or like, you know, as you notice, it was probably more on the Floyd than anything. You get really kind of sharp, cutty kind of vibrato effects. But with this, it's just so smooth. Now, I put this at number 1 because they are pretty common. I also put them at number 1 because there is now enough information out there about how to do these right, like putting a neck shim on your Jazzmaster, or if you have another style of bolt-on neck guitar that has this, making sure that you have at least a good 1% of angle going up so that you can stand your bridge up proud. You can get these things to work great. This is all Squier hardware on here, and I found that after setting it up, there's just been no issue. I run one with 10s and one with 11s. They both work equally great with this setup. I don't think you have to go mastery. I don't think you have to buy, you know, all the crazy expensive things to make these vibrato systems work. I think that any of them can be totally adequate with the proper setup. You may have to do a little bit of, you know, fine tuning, you know, a little bit of metal work. I've had to file a little bit on the bridge just to make sure the strings are seating nicely. But once you get that bridge up high and the neck pitch right, they are fantastic. And like I said, I think that my main reason to vote for it is just how musical sounding. And I know that everybody says that who's in love with these types of vibratos, but I'm telling you, once you have them set up properly, there is nothing better than this. And I don't have tuning stability issues with them either. I do lube my, and another note for everybody, you know, always make sure that when you change strings or you notice you're getting some grab going on, make sure to lubricate your nut slots on any guitar that has a vibrato system. It will make your tuning stability instantly better. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it this far into the video, please hit the subscribe button. Likes and shares are always greatly appreciated, and leave something in the comments. I'm sure that I've made some people angry with my ranking. We got Bigsby at the bottom, then we've got Kahler, then we've got Floyd Rose, then we got Strat, and then we got Jazzmaster. That's my rankings. We'll see you next time. Hit subscribe, and you take care.